There's a moment in life when silence becomes your last defense, when the only thing you can control is not the world around you, but the words that almost escaped your mouth. You feel the heat rise in your chest, the pulse in your temples, the temptation to answer, to defend, to prove, but you don't. You stay still, you breathe, you choose calm over chaos. That's the moment mastery begins. Most people think control is about domination, about holding everything together, about winning. But true control is quieter, it's invisible, it's the art of restraint. It's the choice not to ruin your peace for the sake of being right. Think about the last time your mouth betrayed you, when you said something you didn't mean, when anger spoke before wisdom had a chance to whisper, when your pride drove the car and your mind sat in the back seat, helpless, and the moment the words left your lips, you felt it, that sinking weight in your stomach, regret, because once words leave, they never return the same. Now, shift scenes. Imagine another day, one where you lost control of your mood. Everything seemed fine until something small, a comment, a delay, a look, triggered a storm inside you. You didn't even know why, but suddenly you were someone else, short, tempered, sharp, restless, and by the end of the day, you were exhausted, not because of what happened, but because of what you carried, your mood, that invisible force that controls your energy, your tone, your words. It dictates the way you think, and eventually it decides what kind of life you live. Then there's your mind, that endless screen where stories play without pause. It replays what people said, what you should have said, what you might say next time. It builds imaginary battles and calls it preparation. It builds imaginary failures and calls it realism. Your mind is both the weapon and the wound. And money, oh, money is just the mirror that reflects it all. It shows you your patterns, your patience, your fears. It reveals how you think, how you react, and how much control you actually have over yourself. Because when you can't control your mouth, you lose relationships. When you can't control your mind, you lose direction. When you can't control your mood, you lose peace. And when you can't control your money, you lose freedom. Most people don't fail because of others. They fail because of the parts of themselves they never learned to master. The tongue that cuts deeper than any sword. The thoughts that never rest. The moods that dictate their destiny. The habits that drain their wealth. We've all been there, apologizing for words we said too soon, overthinking situations that didn't deserve our time, losing motivation because of one bad day, and making impulsive decisions with money just to feel a momentary sense of control. That's the human loop. We swing between reaction and regret. We say things we wish we could unsay. We think things we wish we could unthink. We buy things we never needed. We let moods decide our worth, and we call that life. But what if control, real control, isn't suppression? What if it's a form of freedom? Let's start with your mouth, because every word you speak is either building your future or burning your present. Your mouth is the messenger of your mind, and if your mind is chaotic, your words will be too. There's power in silence, not the kind that avoids confrontation, but the kind that contains it, the kind that listens to anger without letting it drive, the kind that knows when not to reply, when not to defend, when not to feed the noise. Every time you respond without reflection, you trade your peace for pride, and pride is expensive. It costs relationships, trust, opportunities. You don't need to be loud to be strong. Sometimes strength is the ability to smile when your ego is begging you to speak. Now, your mind, it's a battlefield. You never leave. You wake up in it. You dream in it. You die in it. And if you don't learn to control your mind, it will control you with a soft voice that sounds like your own. Your thoughts create your emotions. Your emotions create your behavior, and your behavior creates your reality. So when you lose control of your thoughts, you lose control of your life. Most people believe they need to fix their thoughts, but the truth is simpler. You can't stop the thoughts, but you can stop believing every one of them. You can watch them pass like clouds drifting through the sky. You don't argue with clouds. You just let them move. That's mental control, the art of detachment without denial, the ability to think a thought without being owned by it. And mood, that's the bridge between your inner and outer worlds. Your mood is what your thoughts look like when they reach your body. It's how your spirit breathes through your day. It's contagious. You can walk into a room and feel someone's mood without them saying a word. It's energy. It's vibration. It's signal. If you let moods guide your actions, you live in instability, because moods change sunrise to sunset, hour to hour. But if you learn to guide your moods with awareness, you become unshakable. Imagine this. A man loses his job. He feels the panic rising. His chest tightens. His breath shortens. He wants to lash out, to call it unfair, but instead he pauses. He breathes. He says to himself, this is not the end. It's the lesson. That pause changes everything, because in that small moment of awareness, he chose control over collapse. That's what emotional mastery looks like. Not perfection, presence. And finally, money, the external reflection of your internal discipline. You don't need to be rich to master money. You just need to understand what it represents. Energy, exchange, trust. When you spend impulsively, you're trying to soothe something deeper. When you hoard obsessively, you're trying to protect yourself from something unseen. Money reveals your emotional patterns more honestly than your words ever could. Control your money, and you control the echo of your habits, because how you spend is how you think, and how you think is how you live. Here's the truth. You don't control your mouth, mind, mood, and money separately. They are four mirrors, reflecting the same self. When one is chaotic, the others follow. When one is mastered, the others rise with it. The key is awareness, because awareness is the light that turns reaction into response. The gap between impulse and action is where freedom lives. Most people never find that gap. They move too fast. They react too soon. They live like their emotions are emergencies. But they're not. They're just signals, messages, invitations to slow down. Here's how the human loop begins. You feel something: frustration, fear, doubt. The mind reacts with a thought. The mouth expresses it impulsively. The mood deepens it. And then money, or the lack of it, amplifies the stress. Round and round you go, chasing control, but feeding chaos. And then one day, you realize it's not life that's out of control. It's you. Your inner system is misaligned. Your words don't match your thoughts. Your moods don't match your goals. Your money doesn't match your values, it's not because you're weak. It's because you were never taught to master yourself. You were taught to manage the external world, to chase, to fix, to respond. But no one ever told you that peace begins where reaction ends. Here's the moment of truth, the revelation. Control is not suppression, it's direction. It's not holding everything inside, it's knowing where to channel it. Most people think they have an anger problem, or a money problem, or a focus problem. But what they really have is an awareness problem. They react before they reflect. They speak before they think. They spend before they plan. They let moods decide their values. But what if the real problem isn't your mouth, or your mind, or your mood, or your money, but your misunderstanding of control itself? Control isn't the act of holding back. It's the art of guiding forward. It's learning to ride the wave instead of fighting the tide. It's not silence born of fear, but silence born of wisdom. When you control your mouth, you preserve your power. When you control your mind, you protect your peace. When you control your mood, you stabilize your energy. When you control your money, you build your freedom. Together, they form the 4 pillars of self-mastery. They are not separate virtues. They are interconnected frequencies of the same consciousness. And when you align them, your life changes shape. Your energy becomes consistent. Your decisions become intentional. Your peace becomes untouchable. Now, let's climb. Let's explore how to master them one by one. Not with rules, but with rhythm. The climb begins with humility, because before you can control anything in your life, you have to accept that you are not in control of most things. You can't control what people say. You can't control the economy. You can't control time, weather, or fate. But you can control how you respond. That's your kingdom. That's your quiet power. The world doesn't change when you scream louder. It changes when you move wiser. And wisdom starts with the smallest battlefield. Your mouth. Lesson 1. Control your mouth. Your mouth is the gateway of your energy. Every word that escapes carries vibration, direction, intention. You can build someone's confidence or destroy it in one sentence. You can open doors or burn bridges with a single tone. That's how powerful speech is. Think of the athletes and leaders who embody control. Michael Jordan wasn't loud during every game. He was precise. When he spoke, it was deliberate. Every word came after focus, not before it. He didn't waste energy proving. He used silence as fuel. The strongest people don't talk about how strong they are. They move like it. When your mouth is disciplined, your energy is conserved. You stop explaining yourself to people who've already decided not to understand you. You stop defending your worth to those who only hear through their own pain. You stop gossiping, complaining, predicting, because words are seeds, and every complaint you speak plants another weed in your garden. You can't grow peace in soil filled with resentment, so speak with intention, not just to others, to yourself. The mind listens to what the mouth repeats. If you say, "I'm tired," your body obeys. If you say, "I can't," your soul shrinks. If you say, "I will find a way," the universe begins to align. You don't control everything you feel, but you can control the dialogue you build around it. And that's how mastery begins, by becoming fluent in silence and careful with sound. Lesson 2. Control your mind. The mind is not your enemy. It's your instrument, but an untuned instrument produces noise instead of music, and the mind left unattended creates chaos instead of clarity. To control your mind doesn't mean to stop thinking. It means to direct thinking, to question the voices that run wild within it, to notice the stories you tell yourself every day, the ones that start with, "I always," or "I never." Those phrases are prisons. They define you before you even act. "I always mess things up. I never finish what I start." Every repetition becomes a belief, and every belief becomes a pattern. To take control, start with observation. You can't fix what you don't see. Watch your thoughts like a third person, not to judge, but to understand. You'll begin to see how your mind reacts to triggers, how it dramatizes small moments into tragedies, how it confuses discomfort with danger. When Serena Williams trained for championships, she didn't let her mind narrate defeat. She replaced noise with focus, pressure with presence. She learned that the game isn't won on the court, it's won in the mind before the match even begins. Your thoughts create your emotional weather, and awareness is your umbrella. You can't stop the rain, but you can choose not to drown in it. When you learn to detach from thoughts, you begin to sense a deeper you, the watcher, the calm observer. That's your true self. And once you find that self, you realize the mind isn't who you are, it's a tool. And tools work best when you hold them, not when they hold you. Lesson 3. Control your mood. Mood is the color of your consciousness. It's what paints your perception of life. You can wake up in the same world every day, but live entirely different lives depending on the hue of your mood. When you let mood dictate your actions, you surrender your power to weather that changes by the hour. But when you learn to guide your mood, you master stability, and stability creates progress. Think of it like the ocean. Waves rise and fall. You can't control the tide, but you can learn to surf. You can choose not to resist the rise and fall, but to ride it with grace. Mood management is the bridge between emotion and purpose. It's the quiet pause between feeling and reaction. When you're angry, pause before you send that message. When you're sad, pause before you give up. When you're anxious, pause before you predict the worst. Those pauses are invisible moments of power. They change everything. Kobe Bryant understood this. He didn't play from mood. He played from mission. Some days he was tired, some days distracted, but his purpose didn't depend on how he felt that morning. He learned that emotional consistency creates excellence, and so must you. To control your mood doesn't mean to suppress it. It means to understand it. Ask, why am I feeling this way? What is this emotion trying to tell me? Anger might be pointing to a boundary crossed. Sadness might be calling for rest. Anxiety might be asking for presence. When you listen instead of resist, you turn emotion into wisdom. And once emotion becomes wisdom, it stops controlling you. Lesson 4. Control your money. Money is the final mirror, the reflection of all your internal habits in physical form. It's not about greed or luxury. It's about discipline, clarity, and peace. Money is energy, and it flows to where it's respected, not worshipped. If you treat money with fear, it avoids you. If you treat it with arrogance, it punishes you. But if you treat it with awareness, it becomes your ally. Look at how you spend. Every purchase is a statement of belief. Every debt is a whisper of impatience. Every saving is a vote for trust. Elon Musk once said that money is just a tool, a form of energy for progress. But for most people, it's not about progress. It's about emotion. We buy to feel something. We hoard to avoid something. We compare to validate something. To master your money, you must first master the emotion that drives your spending. Ask yourself, what am I really buying? Relief, pride, comfort, status, because until you understand the feeling behind the transaction, you're not spending, you're escaping. Financial peace doesn't start with wealth, it starts with control. When you no longer need to spend to feel worthy, you've already become rich. And when you align your financial habits with your higher purpose, you turn money from a mirror of fear into a tool for freedom. Now, after all these lessons, comes the real test, the storm. There will be days when control feels impossible, when your mouth betrays you again, when your mind spirals into overthinking, when your mood sinks for no reason, when your bank account feels like a reflection of failure. You'll wonder if you've learned anything at all. You'll feel weak, human, unfinished. But that's the point. Control isn't a permanent state. It's a daily practice. You don't master yourself once. You return to mastery again and again. There's a story about a monk who once said, "Before enlightenment, I was restless. After enlightenment, I still get restless. But now, I'm aware." Awareness doesn't erase chaos. It gives you choice within it. So, when your emotions flare, remember the breath. It's the anchor that connects body, mind, and mood. It's the silent rope that pulls you back to calm. When your mind runs wild, return to the present moment, to the taste of air, the sound of life moving around you. This moment is your home. The rest is illusion. When your money feels tight, remember, scarcity starts in the mind. You can have little and still think abundantly. You can have much and still feel poor. Wealth is not measured by accumulation, but by peace. And when your mouth wants to fight back, close it. Let silence win, because silence is never weakness. It's strategic patience. It's choosing peace over ego, and ego will never understand that kind of strength. There will be storms. They will come in words, in moods, in temptations, but you were not built to drown. You were built to learn how to float, and eventually to sail. The storm is the test of your inner engineering. It reveals how well your foundations hold when peace is not convenient. And if you fail, that's okay. Fail consciously. Apologize quickly. Reflect deeply. Restart gently. Control is not perfection. It's progress repeated. Then, after the storm, comes stillness. The air clears. You feel lighter. You begin to see that mastery isn't dramatic. It's subtle. It's found in the small moments you used to overlook. You smile instead of snap. You breathe instead of break. You save instead of spend. You think instead of react. That's not luck. That's growth. The resolution. Life will never stop testing your control, but those who practice awareness become unshakable, not because life gets easier, but because they become steadier. You'll notice one day that people can no longer provoke you the same way, that your reactions have softened, your pace has slowed, your presence has deepened. That's the fruit of control, not power over others, but power within. Control your mouth, and you will speak with intention. Control your mind, and you will think with clarity. Control your mood, and you will live with stability. Control your money, and you will move with freedom. Each one feeds the next. The mouth teaches the mind restraint. The mind teaches the mood peace. The mood teaches the money patience, and the money teaches the mouth humility. The circle completes itself, and in that completion you find balance. True mastery isn't loud. It doesn't need validation. It doesn't post its progress or beg to be seen. It's quiet, private, peaceful. It's found in the calm tone of someone who used to shout, in the deep breath of someone who used to panic, in the measured step of someone who used to rush. That's control. That's evolution. That's self-respect in motion. The echo. So when the world pulls you in every direction, remember this truth. You may not control everything, but you always control your response. Control your mouth. Speak only when it builds. Control your mind. Believe only what brings peace. Control your mood. Protect your energy like sacred fire. Control your money. Let it serve, not enslave you. Do this consistently, and one day you'll wake up free, not because life got easier, but because you got quieter inside. And that is the ultimate mastery, to stand in the middle of noise and choose stillness, to walk through temptation and choose restraint, to face chaos and choose peace, because the world belongs to those who have learned to control themselves. End. Demaisen.